Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Sarah, and today we're gonna talk about the Baddies Caribbean Reunion Part Dos. Okay, I did watch the first part also last week, but I didn't make a video on it. I kind of wanted to wait for the Diamond, the DTB, and Tesehki fight because that was the one I was really kind of like looking forward to seeing because of, I mean, we all saw the horrendous like videos and pictures from Diamond the Body following that fight. Like her tooth came out, her entire, like, I guess her jaw was dislocated or something like that. And then she was like, had like a split. I don't know, like the inside of her gum was all split. And then there was just like pus coming out. I don't know. It was just really bad. And another thing too is, I actually saw the Diamond the Body interview with Tasha K on Tasha K Live, which is actually I would recommend you subscribe because she has a lot of good content on there, Tasha K. Anyway, so I saw the Diamond the Body interview with Tasha K, the most recent one, and I felt bad for her, man. Like I'm a Tesehki fan too, because I feel like Tesehki doesn't really bother anyone. She's kind of like that grounded, like lion, king of the jungle. It's like she doesn't really like mess with anyone. But like if you start poking at her, you know what I mean? Like she's not just gonna like sit back and take it, right? So I also do see her point of view because I'm kind of like Tesehki doesn't really mess with anyone. She seems just really like kind hearted, you know what I mean? And this is from what I see on the show, but also just kind of like the nature of her posting, and like I've tuned into some of her IG lives. She seems laid back, like a genuine rational person, and I feel like sometimes people try to like bring her into their fights, but I feel like she always kind of tries to stay neutral because I think she understands that she's got hands, you know what I mean? Like I feel like Tesehki knows her power, you know what I mean, and she's not abusing it. And so like when I saw the Diamond the Body fight with Tesehki, I was like, it was tough to watch because I saw the fight after the interview with Diamond the Body, and she's so also Diamond. She seems so, she's been through a lot, yo. Like she was telling Tasha that, she used to sell her, for money. She's a stripper, but she also used to do those types of services to get by. So she's kind of like, you know what? Like either way, I'm selling my body, right? Whether you selling my body in a fight or, to a man. She's like well aware of the fact that she's still just like a commodity, even at Zeus, right? But she's like, I would rather, take a punch than have to like, suck a man's, so like that just like really broke my heart out. I felt like and she also said this in the interview, like it's not even in her nature to be antagonizing, but she also understands the nature of this game. It's like if you want to stay booked and busy, if you want a callback for next season, you have to show up and you have to show out, basically, right? And being kind of like the new girl, like coming into the group with all these OGs, and I feel like the OGs kind of took a liking to Tinka. Like they didn't really do that with Diamond. I feel like Diamond had to like force her way in a little bit and just kind of stay engaged. That's just what it seemed like. It could be editing or whatever, but that's just what it seemed like. And then also how she was kind of like, I guess she antagonized Tesehki. Honestly, I'm not even really sure what she said online about her because there's just been so much back and forth. I don't even know what's what. But and please leave a comment if you know exactly what this is about. But I just feel like I just feel like Diamond didn't really want to fight. She's really like a sweet person. Like she's been through a lot. She doesn't want this, right? She was even telling a story about how she was on some other show on Now That's TV, and she was fighting, I think, Sydney Star, and she was just like really effing Sydney Star up, like at one point, and she stopped because she was like, yo, I don't even want to hurt you like that, and when she noticed that she was actually like doing some real damage, she backed off, and she was like, I don't really get how the baddies on Zeus like don't really get that this is just for TV. Like at some point you have to just kind of like, take a step back and be like, wait, I'm just really hurting this woman right now. Like, let me just, let me just do a little something for the show of it all. But like to really hurt someone. So I guess she was saying she was really shocked that like Tesehki came in with just really like guns blazing and just like went in hard, right? Like this wasn't just like, let me just F you up a little bit. Like, let me just like slap you around a little bit. This was like, you know, I mean, she was really punched, even to the point where Tasha K insinuated that, oh, I think Tesehki was actually taking enhancing drugs, right? Like PEDs, like whatever, testosterone. Uh, because Tasha K was saying like, yo, Tesehki is like, she like punches like a dude, like, you know. And I don't know, I feel like Tesehki just been kind of consistent with her fighting abilities. Like, you know, anyone who's been watching Baddies like knows that she's got like hands, so it's nothing new. It wasn't just like something reserved for Diamond. I think it could have just been that, I don't know, maybe, I mean, I guess Diamond was also not really like defending herself, because I guess she had been listening to all these like people on the internet saying like, oh, Diamond, like you don't like move your arms around, because I guess, I mean, because when you're fighting, and I'm no like professional fighter, but even I know that like you got to keep your like guard up, right? You got to like protect that face. And I guess like Diamond was just kind of like doing the whole like, you know, like trying to, you know, when you're trying to look like a fighter, you don't actually know how to box, but you're trying to do the movements. And I feel like, and this is just my observation, again, I'm not like a professional anything, but the thing about Tesehki is that like she kind of just moves around a little bit, but she's fast, right? When she does throw a punch, it's like like it's in and out, and she backs up, in and out. I feel like a lot of the girls that I've been noticing, like when they're fighting, it's like they don't have speed, right? And Tesehki has speed, and I think that's what they're underestimating. So like I feel like sometimes they try to like mimic her movements, like let me try to look like Tesehki like when I'm fighting, but they don't have the skills. Like she knows what she's doing, you know what I mean? Like everything from like how she moves her head back, and like, you know, I mean she's a professional, you know. So but again, I also understand that Diamond the Body, she's trying to, you know, pay her rent, right? Like, and she's like, I think I would rather take a punch from, you know, Tesehki than have to like, you know, take one, you know, go down on it, you know. So I mean, that's a very sad story, so I do sympathize with Diamond. I feel like I don't know, I see both sides in this case. I feel like I understand why Diamond was talking smack. I understand that because she's trying to, you know, secure her spot, but at the same time, I guess Tesehki's trying to do the same thing, right? Because she's really on the show, because everyone's like, oh man, like I think people like to watch, including myself. Like I like seeing how Tesehki just kind of instills so much fear in people, right? Like she doesn't even threaten to fight. Like I feel like some of the other girls who don't even fight as good as Tesehki, they like run their mouths a lot. Like, and Tesehki doesn't really run her mouth because she knows who she is. She knows what she can really do, you know? So I do kind of feel bad for her too, because it's like now people kind of like, you know, want to see her. Like anytime there's tension between Tesehki and anyone else, like immediately that like your eyeballs are like on that, right? Because it's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Tesehki is gonna show us another, like, you know, is she gonna F somebody else up again? Like it's just like that's kind of her brand a little bit on Baddies, you know what I mean? So like I feel like Tesehki also had to kind of maybe fight someone on the show to secure her own spot also. I mean, again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, I don't know, but like I'm pretty sure that like, you know, Tesehki's rise to fame was like following her like fights, you know, and when people saw the damage that she can do, that's when, you know, people were really kind of like, damn, like I really F with Tesehki, you know what I mean? Plus she's a nice person, and she's like, you know, she's beautiful, right? So she really has all these like characteristics that are very, very appealing. She doesn't even have to say anything. And like some people are like, oh, she's boring and this and that, and I'm like, she's still very interesting to look at. Like anytime she's in the room, I'm always like, what is Tesehki thinking about this? And when the people are fighting, because I'm always like, is she gonna jump in? Is Tesehki's gonna jump in? Like it's very like, because I would take one Tesehki fight over like 10 other fights any day. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I mean, it's really like paying to, like, it's like a fight that you would pay to watch, right? Because it's like, she's an athlete. I feel like watching Tesehki fight is almost like you're really like almost like paying to watch an athlete fight. You know what I mean? Like a boxer or UFC fighter or something like that, you know? It's very interesting. But again, I do maybe feel like seeing what happened to Diamond, I'm starting to question a little bit if like maybe in the next time Tesehki gets into a fight, maybe she could hold back a little bit because of the damage that she can really do. And I don't think she wants that on her hands, because I really do think that she's a good person. I don't think she likes to hurt people. She even says that a lot. Like, she's like, I know how traumatizing it can be for someone to be on the other end of my fist, you know? She said that, and she's not the first one to jump into a fight. And I also understand Diamond. Like, she's trying to secure a spot on the show. She's playing the reality show game. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of like neutral in this case. I F with both of them. I like them both. I think they're both very beautiful. And I think Diamond, and they both have really amazing music. Like, I love Tesehki's music. Her voice is like, mwah, right? Like, and Diamond the Body, I just recently kind of like started going on her Instagram page, and she's really good at promoting her music, because she's always like posting, you know, with her music in the background. And just, I don't know, it's just like a vibe. It's like, it's good production quality. She has, you know, fun lyrics. Like, she has a great voice. I don't know. She's just like, it's really great songs, really catchy hooks. So I would really suggest you listen to both Diamond the Body and Tesehki's music, because that's what these women really are. They're really stars, you know? And I hope that they really use this platform to just like kind of focus a little bit on the music, you know, following like all of this, attention that they're getting. And I would understand that, like, you know, Zeus is kind of like, you know, casting them for all these like side shows too. So now you have like the Midwest coming out, Baddies in Midwest, and then you have, you know, Baddies Gone Wild, I think it's called, is coming out also. And, you know, so they're booked and busy, and they're making club appearances and so on and so forth. So I understand that maybe, you know, they don't have a lot of time for music, but these two women are really those, like, they can really like go far because they're so talented. So I hope to see a little bit more of that from them. And then I wanted to talk about just kind of like just kind of like something that I said about like Tesehki, how she's like really like fast, and that's what people are missing. It's not just that her punches are like, you know, heavy. It's like she's really quick with them, you know, and you wouldn't expect it, you know. Because she's not like super petite, right? And that brings me to Ahna, because I wondered, like, Ahna really takes on like a lot of big women, like, I mean, bigger than her, right? And she's like a petite woman, so I guess is you know, most women are going to be bigger than her, right? But what's interesting about Ahna, she really holds her own, and I noticed that because she's really fast, right? She just kind of like, and I think that's where her sort of like petiteness is like in her favor, because she is so petite and very energetic. Even when she's not fighting, when she's talking, she's very like, and she has that same energy when she's fighting. So it's almost like you can't catch her, right? Because she's like, she's everywhere. She's everywhere. So even like a bigger person fighting on it, like, sure, if like one of their punches connects, it's gonna like do damage, right? But she's just like moving, right? So it's almost like her hits connect more than someone who's stronger and bigger than her. And I think that's interesting, just watching these fights, because sometimes I do feel like, oh man, that's not even fair. Like, this person is tiny and this other person is like really big, where it just shows that, like, you know, there are strengths and weaknesses with, you know, being small and in a larger body. And so I think also one of the benefits of being like in a larger body, I'm not saying like a big body, but like larger than an Ahna, right, is that I think because you have more fat on your body, if you are hit, especially if you're taking hits on your body, there's more fat to sort of like cover your organs, right? And that's just a fact. Now, I can't say whether it hurts more or not, because I think that's individual. But I think just as far as like protection, there is just more cushion. And I think that's why, you know, certain women that have like bigger bodies that may not move as fast as other baddies, because they are restricted by their sheer size, it does seem like they're able to withstand a little bit more. Because sometimes I look at you know, some of the women in, you know, bigger bodies that they just seem to be able to take more, And even though they're not really like fast with it. So that's something that I was going to say. And honestly, I'm going to say, like, I was kind of impressed with Ahna in her fight with Nunu, because Nunu, I mean, it looks like she can really fight, right? Not only does she look the part, she's, physically like athletic, and she does look like she has quite a bit of muscle, and she just seems like a very athletic person. And that's not to say that you can fight, but Nunu actually looks like she can fight also. But I feel like Ahna held her own. Now, I can't say, if Nunu did damage or Ahna did damage. I mean, we'll have to see, because from the footage, it wasn't really clear who was really like doing the most damage in that one particular fight. Okay, so Jela, Big Gretch, this is a very sad story, because I feel like I have a lot of sympathy for Jela in this situation, because I think Big Gretch seems like a nice person, and it's really unfortunate that they started off this way, because I think Big Gretch is probably one of the most kinder people in the house, and that, like, if you are friends with her, you would probably have a fairly pleasant experience. She doesn't seem like the person that would just sort of like stab you in the back one day, right? Like, just out of nowhere. She does seem like a solid person. She wasn't doing a lot of like rah-rah unnecessarily, right? She kind of wasn't really in anyone's face unless someone like wasn't hers. So that's unfortunate. However, I must say, the whole biting thing, like, when she bit Jela, I felt like since that moment and seeing like what she did to Jela, I have complete and full understanding why Jela would be so aggravated every time she sees her, and why she's like not sort of like stopping this like I guess like attack on Big Gretch. Like, I get it, so I can't even speak on that. And honestly, I almost feel like if Jela just kind of like did like a similar type of damage to Gretchen, she would probably like let it go, because then she would probably finally feel like, all right, now we're even, right? But I feel like Jela still hasn't gotten that moment with Big Gretch, because there's always people like either jumping in trying to help Big Gretch, or and I mean, Big Gretch does hold her own too, but I do think that Big Gretch tend to fight a little dirty, I think, because first the biting, right, which is like, that's kind of like the spitting. It's like, stop. It's just like, I don't know, I would just like to see a little bit more, especially because it is a TV show. I would like to see a little bit more professionalism in these fights, right, where it's like, all right, it's still a TV show, right? Like, no spitting, no biting, no like unnecessarily like, wearing like freaking like rings, and like using, your rings to like, mess up someone's face. I'm purposely trying to mess up someone's face. Just like scratching people's faces. It's like, I would say like, try to treat it more like a boxing match. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. And that's something I do like about Tesehki. Even though like she does a lot of damage, I feel like I never really see her doing all of that. Like, let me just like, scar your face, and like, and I mean, I know like Diamond the Body would beg to differ, but I would say that like Tesehki like does a lot of damage as far as like her punches, but just kind of like in a boxer kind of way. It's not this like biting and the hair pulling, and not to the extent that I see some of the other girls doing it. And I think that's because they don't actually know how to fight and defend themselves. And I think when you're in like fight or flight, you're just like grabbing onto whatever. I mean, you're just trying to survive, right? Especially if you don't have fighting skills. And I think that maybe Gretch, she's also on the petite side of things. She's very slim, and even though she does hold her own, she doesn't like have a lot of like weight to back up her punches, it looks like. So I think maybe when she's sort of like cornered, she has a tendency to like grab the hair, scratch the face and the bite. But what happened on this particular reunion episode when Gretchen was fighting Jela, it looked like she grabbed a hold of Jela, like she put her hand in Jela's mouth. That's what it looked like to me. That she put her hand in her mouth, like almost like this. And she was like pulling her jaw. And I was like, what is she doing? Like, I've just never seen anything like that. I've never seen anyone fight like that. Like, you're just like putting your hand. First of all, I don't understand how she was able to do that without Jela just kind of like biting her hand. Like, but that's just what it looked like to me. Maybe it was just like way faster than I remember it being, but it looked like there was a hand in her mouth, and like she was purposely trying to pull out teeth. It looked like she was purposely trying to pull out teeth. And maybe I just like am, not remembering this correctly, but if I am remembering this correctly, that's what it looked like. It's like a hand trying to pull out a tooth, or like the whole, and that was weird to me. That was really weird to me, because I'm like, whose instinct is to like pull out a tooth? Not even like hit someone to the point where a tooth comes out, but like pull it out. And that was just weird to me. And I feel like for that reason, I don't think that this is the right place for Big Gretch, because I feel like it's really scary when people that don't know how to protect themselves resort to kind of like crazy tactics that can be really, really that can end really badly. And I think we saw that also with the biting of Jela. And I thought that was, really unfortunate, because I don't think anyone goes on this show wanting to have like a scar for life. You know what I mean? I remember like, there was this, especially over a situation where, Jayla's really trying to do the right thing in her mind. She's like, I'm standing up for what I believe in, and, I'm standing up for my people, like, saying the N-word and all that stuff. So like, I totally understand her plight, and I understand why she keeps going after Big Gretch. But again, it's unfortunate, because I do think Big Gretch maybe they would have even been really good friends, right? So that is unfortunate. And what else? Who else? I do want to talk about Tommie, which, by the way, she looked beautiful. I don't know, it's like the hair, the orange hair, it was like a burgundy, or I don't know. It was like kind of like, it gave me like fall vibes, and we are in October, so it was like really beautiful and just like very simple with like a little white tank. And I don't think I would have the balls to wear those pants that she was wearing, but I don't even know what they are. It's like cowboy like slacks or something, like with cutouts. I know there's a specific name for them, like chaps, I think. Are they chaps? I don't know, something like that. I don't know. I think she looked beautiful, but it did seem a bit like they were like production was trying to protect her, and it could be because she was there as a celebrity guest, and so that maybe in her contract, maybe like there's something in her contract that says that, X, Y, and Z cannot happen. This person or that person cannot touch her. I don't know. But I felt like when I saw Tommie going at it with Rollie back and forth, and I do know that in the next episode, we will actually see them fighting. But, oh man, she was just really like on Rollie for a long time in part 2. And Rollie was just kind of like trying to brush it off. Just like, leave me alone. And Tommie was just going. And I was like, this is really weird, because I've never seen Rollie not step up to anyone, like, especially after being like sort of like taunted this way. And then like Natalie kind of gets up and stands in between them, and then Biggie kind of steps in also and just kind of like tries to like diffuse the situation. She gives Rollie a hug, and I think she's trying to like show that some sort of like amicability or something like that, because I know she's also friends with Tommie. I don't know, but it was just kind of like, it felt like everyone was like protecting Tommie, because maybe they also noticed that maybe Tommie wasn't completely like I don't know. I don't really like to say when people look like they're under the influence or not, because you can't really like know. And also I think it can be like dismissive sometimes to say like, oh, this so-and-so is just saying these things because they're under the influence, which may be true, but I don't like to say that, because this could really be her true feelings, that she feels this way about Rollie, and that she feels this way about whatever's going on. But I'm saying this because Rollie said that she was under the influence, or that it looked like it. So maybe that's why they weren't, like going after her, because, maybe they knew that she was like maybe not in the right state of mind. I don't know. But that will be interesting to see how that plays out next week with Rollie, because they got into a fight. And I think one last thing I want to say is that I think Asian Doll is a pretty like interesting cast member because she I mean, gorgeous, by the way, but I feel like maybe she also has some type of like celebrity contract going on, because I also feel like no one really like came for her like that. And I also feel like she didn't really like unnecessarily go after people the way some of these other cast members do. They're sort of like trying to secure a slot for the next season, like some people that are a little bit more unknown. So I think that's interesting. Yeah. And what else? Oh yeah, I do want to say that I feel like Meatball held her own. Who's in the right or wrong? It doesn't even matter, because when I see one person being attacked by three people, one after the other, it just doesn't sit right with me. And the fact that she cried after kind of upset me, because I think we've all been, at some point in our lives, we felt bullied, whether it's as children or even as adult in the workplace. When you feel like people are kind of talking about you or ganging up against you. It's a very sad feeling, because no one actually wants to be the villain or, and I know that like people were kind of like cheering her on, saying like, the audience was like, meatball, 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 but I think anyone would rather be on, like, just be friends with the cast. Like when you see Tesehki, Ahna, and Biggie, and then they seem to have like a little click thing going on. And I think people would rather be sort of like clicked up like that, having real friends, than to be cheered on as some sort of like, outsider. And I do think Meatball is quite real, because she does show her emotions, and so many times too, like in her fights with Tinka, she did say that she, this hurts her because this was a real friendship. I don't see that same kind of sentiment from Tinka, and maybe again behind the scenes there's been more of that we haven't seen, and she has sort of like cried a few times, but I don't know, like when I watched it, and it could be editing, it just felt more performative than when I saw it coming from Meatball, because Meatball was actually trying to like mend fences. She was trying to reach out an olive branch and patch things up with Tinka, and I feel like Tinka wasn't receptive of that. So I think that's why I was sort of confused, because I was like, well, if you are that upset and you really do love Meatball, like, like this isn't that serious. We're talking about a freaking chain. Like, wouldn't you just like kiss and make up? But again, it's like, it could be, it could be for the show, trying to secure a spot and like giving us entertainment, which again, we appreciate that also as viewers. But I did feel bad for Meatball, because it does seem like overall that Tinka is more popular in general. I feel like even when she was fighting with Diamond, everyone was sort of like taking up for Tinka. So she is sort of like, I don't know, like people seem to really take up for her in the house. And so I don't know, maybe that's why I'm sort of like, kind of, feeling bad for the underdog in the situation a little bit. So I'm not even making an assessment like who I think is in the right or who's in the wrong. I think I'm just kind of going off of like my empathy, to be honest. So I'm not saying Meatball is right or Tinka is right. I'm just saying like my empathy makes me feel bad seeing her cry and wanting to just be friends with everyone. And yeah, so that was kind of sad to see. And it was a nice moment when Tommie kind of like showed up for her and, gave her a hug and, sort of grounded her again and reminded her of who she is. I think that was quite beautiful. And I do want to say that, I don't know, like Natalie's looking so cute lately. I love how she does her hair. She always has these little like buns on the side of her. I don't know. She's colorful and fun. And I've really enjoyed Natalie this season, because I've just seen her really be, really empathetic, to be honest. I think it was when she was also like having that conversation with ET and Rollie, just kind of how she stepped up and she was just so like grown about it. And I don't know, I feel like in this season I could really tell like, she is the boss, and she was more like a guiding force for everyone. And I don't know, she was just really cute and fun. And yeah, I really was a big fan of Natalie. this season. Okay, so who else? I don't think there's anyone else. Oh yeah, I do want to say something about Saucy Santana. I'm a huge fan of Saucy Santana. But also, I think he did such an amazing job. I know there was some chatter about, like, I think it was Marilyn and someone else who said, like, oh, Santana didn't do a good job and whoop-de-doo. And so I was kind of curious to see, what this was about. But so far, I feel like he's done an amazing job, because I feel like a lot of times the hosts that are in, the hosts, the people that host the reunions, they just kind of like, when people get to fighting and stuff, they just kind of get a little scared and just like sit back and just like, oh, Mo, what's going on? You know what I mean? Kind of like Nene, whatever. It's almost like Nene was too like grown and too like, I don't know. It's just like wasn't her scene really. So when things transpired the way they did, like, she wasn't in the pain. But I felt like Saucy, he was just like running around and just like, making side comments and like jumping in things, and like, I don't know, I felt like he really took control. And I've never seen a host take control of a Baddies reunion ever. Like sometimes even Janeisha, and I think Janeisha, I hope I'm saying her name right, Janeisha. I really like her because she's really able to kind of like bring everyone in, and like she does have like a sort of like a calming effect on people, where she's like, she can sit still and be rational, and like, I don't know, people listen to her. I do like her, so I think she's necessary as like a balance. But I do feel like having someone like Saucy to sort of like do the stuff that she can't really do, because it doesn't seem like it's in her character to just kind of like be in the paint and just like kind of be a baddie. I feel like Saucy was kind of like a baddie on the reunion a little bit, and I think that was nice to see because he really took charge of it. So I think that was a good mix. But I do feel like we need someone like Janeisha to really ask like the real questions also, right? Because not only is she up to date with everything that's going on, but she's also she's just, the organizer. So she knows who's coming in, and, she knows the order of things and everything. So she can like really set up the conversation so that it makes sense for us as viewers. Right. And then somebody said, I don't know, I saw this online that someone was like, oh, Scotty was looking at Janeisha, funny. I don't know. I mean, you hear these rumors, Lemmy and all these, baddies, cast members, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I do think that whatever clip they were showing of Scotty kind of like side-eyeing Janeisha, I don't know if that's like true, because I think they just caught Scotty just like, maybe having like a moment, just like, because, when no one's like really watching, when we're not really like, actively engaging with someone, like sometimes we do kind of sit and just like, like stare, and like sometimes it can look like we have attitude or that we're irritated, but it could be completely unrelated. So I don't know. I don't think that's like a thing. It could be, but just judging from that clip where Scotty's just kind of like staring a little bit like dead in her eyes, I don't think that says too much. But yeah, this was a great episode, and I look forward to giving you guys some more commentary next week once part 3 comes out. All right, guys, subscribe for more commentary on baddies and other celebrity, pop culture, trending topics. It was really good to chat with you guys today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.